You think people are stubborn? Wait until you hear about the animals from my village. One refused to carry our olives no matter what we did. And the other, believe it or not, tried to take revenge on its own owner. This is a story of a donkey, a camel, and the chaos they brought into our lives. Stay with me until the end, because once you hear what happened with the camel, you might never look at animals the same way again. It was the autumn of 1998. Our village was busy with the olive harvest, and every family relied on their donkeys to carry the heavy sacks back home. But we didn't own a donkey. My mother, Salima, my brother Ali, and my cousin Samir were left stranded until our neighbor Abu Kamal reluctantly agreed to lend us his donkey. Now, let me tell you something about Abu Kamal. He was known in the whole village as stingy. Stingy with his money, stingy with his favors, stingy with everything. Even his donkey seemed to copy his behavior. But because he had a decent relationship with our family, he allowed us to borrow it. Though from the way he handed us the reins, you'd think he was giving away gold. So early in the morning, my mother, brother, and cousin set off to the fields, while I stayed at home. They worked hard all day under the autumn sun, shaking olive trees, filling bags. Meanwhile, the donkey, he stood under the shade of a tree, chewing calmly like a retired king enjoying his pension. When the sacks were finally ready, Ali told me later, they tied them up and tried to get the donkey to move. But guess what? The donkey took 3 steps, then sat down. Not gently. Oh no. He dropped like a sack of stones and let out a long, grunting snort that echoed through the field. Samir apparently yelled, "What is this? A donkey or a spoiled prince?" My mother pulled the reins. "Move, you lazy beast!" The donkey just grunted louder, shaking his ears. My brother groaned. Maybe he doesn't understand Arabic. Should I try English? He leaned in and shouted, "Go, go!" The donkey stared at him as if he were the biggest fool alive. They tried everything, begging, clapping, pushing. At one point, they even tried to lift him up the way people lift a car stuck in the mud. My mother, red in the face, yelled, "I've raised children easier than moving this animal." Nothing worked. The donkey was stubborn as stone. Finally, exhausted, my mother gave up and told the boys to carry the sacks themselves. So Ali and Samir bent over, dragging those heavy bags on their backs, while the donkey suddenly stood up, calm as ever. He walked beside them like he was enjoying a stroll in the park, with a smug look only a donkey could have. When Ali told me this part, I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. But at the time, none of them were laughing. They were furious. The donkey had humiliated them. But the story didn't end there. Back in the village, Abu Kamal was pacing in his courtyard. It had been hours past the time we were supposed to return his donkey. Finally, furious, he stormed to our house. I opened the door when I heard the loud knocking, and I found Abu Kamal, red-faced, with his veins popping. "Where's your mother? Where's my donkey?" he shouted. I froze. They're still in the field," I whispered. "Still in the field," he barked. "Do you know how cruel your family is, working my poor donkey all day without rest? You people are heartless. I will never lend you my donkey again." Little did he know, the donkey had spent the entire day lounging under a tree, and it was my family who had carried the sacks. Later, when my family returned, I realized something strange. That donkey really was like his owner. Abu Kamal was stingy and stubborn, and so was his animal. Like owner, like donkey. Now, you might think that was the strangest thing animals ever did in our village. But believe me, what happened next made the donkey look like an angel. Because while donkeys are stubborn, camels are vengeful. There was a villager named Mahmoud. He owned a massive camel that carried his loads across the fields, but Mahmoud wasn't kind to his animal. He would hit it with a stick whenever it slowed down. One day, the camel refused to move. It simply sat down in the middle of the road. Mahmoud, red with rage, struck it again. The camel obeyed, standing up and carrying the weight as if nothing had happened. Mahmoud thought the matter was over, but the camel did not forget. Oh no, camels never forget. Months passed, summer came, and Mahmoud had a habit during hot nights. He slept outside in his courtyard on a simple bed under the stars. One evening, he went to dinner at a neighbor's house. When he returned home later that night, something froze him in place. There, in the moonlight, was his camel, sitting, not in its pen, not by the barn, but right on his bed, the exact bed where he usually slept. Mahmoud's face turned pale. He realized in an instant. The camel thought he was sleeping there as usual, and it had planned to sit on him, to crush him, to kill him slowly in his sleep. The villagers who heard the story swore the camel had been waiting patiently for weeks, planning, watching, holding a grudge for that one beating. And Mahmoud? He didn't sleep a single night in that courtyard again. The very next day, he sold the camel. He didn't even keep its rope. He wanted it gone, far away. So, what did I learn from these two stories? That animals are not just mindless creatures. Donkeys can be as stubborn and stingy as their owners. Camels can remember every cruelty and bide their time for revenge. They have personalities, memories, and sometimes a sense of justice of their own. So treat your animals with kindness, because they will never forget how you treated them. Now, tell me, have you ever seen an animal act stubborn or even hold a grudge? Maybe your pet shocked you with something unexpected? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if you enjoyed my story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss more real-life stories like this one. Trust me, the next story will surprise you even more.